you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, help is available. Please call or text 988.
The number is being given today, so we don't have to light this candle to remind us of another life lost to suicide.
There will be better days ahead. You just have to wait for them. There will be better days ahead.
Don't hesitate to reach out to someone right now.
I promise you that you are appreciated and loved.
Depression and anxiety, know that you're not alone.
Need help? I'm going to ask you again. Call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK. You can also text or call 988, the Suicide Crisis Hotline. I love you guys. I want you here. Please help each other.
Good evening, my brothers and sisters. Hello, you sexy cucumbers. Happy Monday evening. Welcome to TCB in the place to be and burn it down. Tom Cheshire here. Thank you for tuning in. First things first, I want to give a shout out to Jamie Bennett for that intro. Still loving it every week. Also want to thank her for having me as a guest on her show this past weekend, this past Saturday afternoon. The jam session goes underground. I love being her guest. We had a wonderful conversation. Please check it out. Please check out all of her shows. They are all awesome. She is making big steps. Love it all. And what I love about the Cosmos creative team is we are all supporting each other, having each other as guests on each other's show. My guest is, I'm a huge fan of hers. We're going to get into that in a minute. I want to give a shout out to the girls, the young ladies from Orchid Times. Thank you for being my guests last week. Super excited about season 2. And I can't wait to have you on the show again. Shout out to Renée Yaworsky, the lady behind the scenes. I like to think of Renée as, you see this guy driving a fire truck. Renee's in the background and she's doing the real driving. She's in the director's seat, producing, driving, and making big things happen. So thank you so much, everyone behind the scenes. Thank you, Renee, Rory, Sandy D, everyone involved in the Embracing Hope campaign and commercial. There's a saying I heard when I was a little kid. And it's, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Well, I am here to tell you I'm in the kitchen and I can handle it. I'm a big fan of this person. She's a singer. She's a chef, a comedian. She's a defender of good times. I love everything she's doing. I love this show, Bitchin' in the Kitchen. I'm a big fan of four-letter words and screaming. I'm a big fan of food, and I'm a big fan of song, and I'm a big fan of comedy. And it's a really gorgeous marriage, what she has going on. I love cooking shows, and it's so original. And I can't wait to get behind this and talk more about this. Ladies and gentlemen, zigga, 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 Ruby Rae Moore.
Hi.
What?
What?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. You look amazing. Thank you for being on my show.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Yes, and the goal is, first of all, no lies here. I haven't lied in like 16 days. I'm so proud of that. But the goal is to, one, tell truths and say things that I really believe, but also is to make my guests blush. So I hope you like that introduction, all those things I said about you.
I'm blushing. Can you see?
I love that because I do. I love your songs. I meant to say interpreter as well because I love the way you interpret songs. But I love the idea of you're a defender of good times. Like, listen, I had a rough week, but that's not going to stop me from, throwing this bowl of negative fruit against the wall and start doing it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I am a defender of good times.
Yes.
I've never heard it quite said like that before, but yes, I am. I think that's what made me blush the most because
Well, you have something new to put on your resume, defender of good times.
Of good times. Headroom mother, defender of good times.
It is such a wonderful, I say this all the time because I love writing and I love poems and songs and stories. But the English language really isn't that special. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of words that are just boring. But my favorite thing about the language is the way some words fit right next to each other. And defender of good times sounds beautiful. Like for me, my favorite word is solace, like to find comfort in discomfort. And that kind of defines my whole life. I'm always trying to find comfort out of whatever pain that I've been given. So I kind of feel like you do that on your shows when I see you singing songs, and we will get into that. But Bitchin' in the Kitchen, I really think it's just next level. I mean, I think you're on a higher plane and you are hanging above churches and parking lots and libraries and school cafeterias, and you're throwing the sauce against the wall and you say, yo, let's mix it up and let's do this right. I was laughing, writing notes yesterday, watching you yesterday. I was like, curry it up already. Curry it up. And yeah, the soups, the curries, the pancakes, everything. The curse words.
I do tend to swear. People catch me swearing on my streams, especially on my Drungle stream. You get saucy and you get saucy.
There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
So when MM and Renée approached me if I was interested in this, I was kind of curious. Well, do I need to clean up my language because I really
never.
Mouth, and they were like, no, don't clean up your language.
Make it filthier.
I've always found from a young age that swear words came out of my mouth so nicely.
Wow. I was at work today talking with a couple of gentlemen about our show tonight, and a couple of them, let's just say, were a bit more conservative than, let's say, us. And I was like, well, funny enough, I'm a huge fan of curse words, and because the way I was raised, I wasn't allowed, and I still actually really don't curse in front of my mom. So I think when I'm not away from my mom, it's like I'm making up for lost time. There's been times that I've been in conversation, and a friend of mine who's now like a dad, and he'll say, Tom, do you realize every other word you're saying is fuck? And I'm like, I didn't realize that, but thanks, I love it.
Letting me know. Yeah, I got a
so the idea of the show, because you really have just grown so much, and it's been so wonderful watching you grow from when I met you, and then I think you even reached out and we actually corresponded and spoke about, let's say, a few shows and stuff, live performances and everything. But each episode and each performance it's just like we're witnessing, and we're fortunate and lucky to see like something more beautiful and organic and even spiritual, like unravel about you. And I appreciate that, because that's like as a performer myself, it's a really weird line to toe, to give that much to somebody. It's so funny that people can claim that artists or musicians or writers or even chefs, they dive so much into what they do that they're selfish. And I think it's the exact opposite. I would say that we're selfless.
I agree with that. But I would hear selfish from other people.
Oh,
No,
same here.
I found myself for years just trying as a like a stay-at-home mom. For the better part of 25 years, I've been a stay-at-home mom. Of course, I've done like my gigs with like wait
Right.
and bartending and barista and dog groomer, you name it. But I've struggled to be authentic, to be myself.
Right.
I've always felt I've always walked away from situations thinking, oh, I'm too much, and
Right.
I'm probably was, but I don't find that. I don't find that here in the streaming world. And it's funny you say that. It's been interesting to watch me grow, because I just did my first stream anniversary.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. Yeah.
But it's so strange to me. It's been the slowest year in the world.
Right.
The
But
most
it's been such a natural, yeah, and such a natural progression. And I love that idea about your real, true, authentic self, because there was a time, and it happens even to the best of us. Not too long, well, I guess maybe 12 or 13 years ago, I wasn't in the best place, certainly in a personal relationship and other things in my life, and I found myself doing things trying to please another person. And well, let's just say you're never going to win in that way. And a really dear friend of mine said, "What is wrong with you, dude? This person is giving you these tan khakis that you look horrible in, and you have no business wearing that light blue shirt. I've known you since your teenage years, and all you wore was black. Grow your hair out. Put the black shirt back on. Put on your high wooded Dickies. Wear your Vans, and I guarantee you, show your true self, and you'll see this your strive will be different, and you certainly will thrive." And he couldn't have been any more right. I found myself more at peace, and I got all of the clients that I never thought I would get, and it was just because I just said, no, this is me. I think I'm a good person, I'll be honest with you, and I'm a workaholic, and let's do this. And here I was nervous about maybe my appearance, but if the hair was long, or if the beard was long, or if I'm wearing high waters and I'm wearing just black, no, the work and the actions, and the way I dealt with them, and my integrity, honesty, loyalty to them, that was what was going to show through. And it certainly has made me more successful and the man I am today. And it's even come, even with my art and my music and stuff, I was like, I can't believe for a minute, what was I thinking? Trying to do something for somebody else. And it just shows you, no matter who we are, it happens to the best of us. We all can use a pep talk from a friend, or stop and look in the mirror, take that glimpse, try to figure it out, and say, wait a minute, am I doing this for the right reasons? Am I doing this for me?
Yeah. I got to a point. I just got to a point where I said, am I just going to do what I want to do? And, you get to a certain age and you've been living for your family or your friends or your coworkers, for so long. And I just got to a point where I said, well, I guess I'm just going to do it. And I'd been playing the ukulele for about a year.
So good.
And I just said, fuck it. I went and threw myself online in front of my friends,
Yeah.
and instead it's funny how, because the people that I don't know, some people cringe when they see somebody expose themselves like that. Like they think, well, why would someone do something like that? Why would she do that? Or, but I don't know. I just kept at it. And then I got the you know, about a month or so later, I got the balls to put myself on SDF in the middle of the night. And
Yes.
then, wow, I just met the best people, the most supportive people, you know, Greg and Julio, you know, my brother, my drunk
Greg and
goals,
Julio, shout out. Yes. Oh, yeah, you guys.
bro, you know, like so many people that were just so supportive, that were just like, don't stop what you're doing. It's so, you're just so
Right.
nice. And, you know, and I don't feel like I'm there. I'm there for myself. I did it for my own, for anxiety. It's singing and playing is such a beautiful, natural anxiety
Sure.
release. So first and foremost, I was doing it for that. That's why I started playing, because I just needed to do something. I needed to sing is what I needed to do. Something inside of me was calling to me, sing again. It's going to make you feel better. You know, the pandemic had me down. It was so boring, you know? And so I don't know, when I came around and just put myself, I guess just put myself out there, I feel like I'm hanging out with friends, you know, it's like
Well, you are. Yeah. And those guys are your partners in crime and your partners in rhyme. I mean, I love it all. You guys had me as a guest on the Drunk Calls. I love it. Shout out to Julio and Greg again. I've had a question that I've been wanting to ask you for 6 months now. And you may just like give me some sign language and be like, Tom, I don't want to answer this in front of people. But is Ruby Rae Moore your real name?
Not at all.
because the first time I heard you, I was like, oh my goodness, she's a big fan of Ruby Rae Moore. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Dolomite and 70s black exploitation films. And it's so funny because I was going over notes last night to talk to you, and then this morning, and I was like, man, I gotta bring up Dolomite, because I actually recently saw the Eddie Murphy film where he actually plays Dolomite, and I loved it.
Finally, you were the second person.
You know, I got a chance to see him before he died. He played at a small club in Atlanta, the Echo Lounge, and he came out. Oh man, the pimp outfit on, the band, basically dancing, bell bottoms, and basically got on the microphone and knew what he did. He was like Ruby Rae Moore. He just got on the phone and started cursing and saying on the microphone, started saying curse words. He's like, it was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, so like the swearing, okay, yeah, the swearing definitely. I kind of went with it when I got stuck with the name, and that is precisely where the name came from.
I love it. Well, I knew that, and the more I've gotten to know you, and Defender of Good Times really is just a brilliant title that I've just given you, because you're crass, but none of it's offensive to me. I love it all. It's brilliant. It's witty, sardonic, sarcastic in the right places. I know you're heartfelt, but also I've seen you be deprecating, which I am myself. There's nothing wrong with it, because we shouldn't take any of our things about us too seriously. You know, I'm a big fan of saying in a song like, "In my hair, it's beyond repair," or "Look at me, I'm here with all these flesh wounds, and I'm making fun of myself, but I'm still expressing my love to you."
There you go. Yeah,
I love it. Well, we're not going to find out your real name tonight, but I'm going to probably text you later. I love Ruby Rae Moore. Let's talk about Bitchin' in the Kitchen. Again, shout out MM and Renée Yaworsky for coming to you, which just means that they are talent scouts in this thing called Cosmos that we're doing. And this team, I talked about it when I was on the show with Jamie Bennett the other day. I love being her guest on the jam session. And we talk about this camaraderie, community, teamwork, brotherhood, sisterhood. And I mentioned this thing, and I was like, we're really doing this on our own terms, and we're making up the rules as we go, and we're really becoming like the new what's next.
It's a lot of fun.
Yes, it's lovely. It's so much fun. Everyone, and even the fans and the viewers who just watch, I've become friends with, because they'll send notes and say, thank you for, that last episode. Or someone sent me a note the other day saying, I really appreciate your honesty when you talk about your process or songs and stuff, because all of it is, it's ups and downs and all around, and so you got to enjoy, be a defender of good times, enjoy the good stuff when it happens.
Definitely. Definitely. And people do reach out, and I'm very candid about my anxiety and depression
Yeah.
struggles.
Hmm.
People
I
reach
love
out.
that. Thank you. I should know this, but also this is not a Wikipedia show. It's two friends, awesome mates talking. So I'd rather just ask and not be looking up research. But I have a blank. What part of the country are you in?
I'm in the Chicagoland area.
What, man? I should have known that. Well, I'm in Chicago every couple of years. Next time I play a show there, we're gonna bring you out. You can do some songs. It'll be great.
What area are you in? I always assume Atlanta.
I'm currently in Atlanta. I like to tell people I've lived in New York for in Brooklyn. I grew up in New York and lived there. I'm old, Ruby Rae. I'm 52 years young. I lived in New York till I was 22. Lived in Atlanta till I was 40 and became the musician and artist and people I still work with. You know, met some very important lifelong partners that I have in my life. Moved back to New York, and then during the pandemic, kind of came back here and bouncing back and forth between Tennessee mountains and Atlanta. But I'm in my studio, TCB Studios in Atlanta. People in the background who assist me. We got some cats, we got some dogs, we got a very positive garden, vegetables, cucumbers. Assistants, everyone's big fans of Ruby Rae Moore and Bitchin' in the Kitchen, and you covering REM Hurt. They love it.
Oh, you know what? I love covering every song in the world. That was my goal. When I figured out that it's so much easier than I ever dreamed to play the ukulele. You know, I had a ukulele in my house for probably 15 years.
Oh, I know, right? And then one day you just see it. You go, wait a minute. You've been talking to me. I wasn't listening. Let's do something.
Yeah, I took a lesson. I took a lesson from this little 23 man. He can play
I
the
love it. And I love to. I'm a big REM fan. That song is gorgeous. And this month, I love that everyone's paying a little bit extra attention and embracing this Embrace Hope campaign. It's very important. I also think, and I've talked about this with Julio and other folks. Well, just when October comes, are we going to forget about this? No, we are these works in progress, and if we really are brothers and sisters like we say we are, we'll continue to spread the positive message and continue to look after each other.
Yes, I've been lately, especially after losing Anon, I've been advocating, please, to find someone you trust within our network and share with them your emergency contact. Share with them where you live, how to get in touch with them, your real name, because a lot of us don't. I'd be using my real name, but I kind of got stuck with this, and then I
love it. I absolutely, it's so good. I'm so glad I remembered. There's a sticky note here.
That's so
Ask
great.
her about Dolomite. By the way, I want to go to a Halloween party with you, and let's just both be Dolomite.
Oh my God! Well, listen. It's pretty much set in stone. I'm going to be coming right down that area at the end of October.
Oh, let us know. And I do, because I travel a lot for work. So you need to give me time in advance. So I'll make sure I'm here. We'll do dinner. Maybe we'll do a live stream. Maybe we'll get you to play somewhere. It'd be wonderful. It is this wild thing that happens to us because, like Renée, I say this all the time, and I'll say it a million more times. Such a big fan of hers, inspiration. We become friends, teammates, brother and sister, workmates. I've never met her in person, and then I've been very lucky to meet like Daniel Gay and John Phipps and Jamie Bennett in person. But I feel like I know you in person because we see each other all the time. We send each other's notes. But when I do see you in person, man, the earth's gonna shake and we're gonna have a dance party. Just some 70s funk music.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's the intro. This is going to be a long episode. No, now we get into the nitty gritty.
All right.
Because I believe also in the background and in the back of your head, now I want some secrets. You do have a vision for the show, because I have a vision for your show, and I have a vision for Burn It Down. And by the way, I want us to partner on some things. I think your show has potential to be just the biggest thing. It is that good. It's comedy. It's Better Homes and Gardens.
Come on.
It's home economics. I mean, and it's music, and there's a jazz delivery to it when you're mixing this curry, and I'm screaming into the phone, curry it up, Ruby, curry, and you're laughing, and you have also an awesome laugh. Thank you. A good laugh is hard to come by these days. You have a really funny laugh, and the storytelling and the curse words. It really is. It's just like a really, really great '60s. Again, I'm showing my age. Jazz poetry comedy album.
Well, that's awesome. That makes me so excited. I'm just stoked because I was nervous. I was nervous for this interview. Because way back
when. Are you a chef, or are you just a mom who's been cooking for years?
I'm a mom who taught myself how to cook.
Yeah.
I taught myself how to cook. I'm not even a big fan of like all the cooking shows and stuff, when
right.
kind of took off, and it was like you had easy access to like Pinterest or like, recipe sites and stuff.
Right.
Now you want to look for a recipe, and you've got to read someone's life story and about how their aunt,
oh my goodness.
16 years.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a fan of like just a natural cooking show. I love when there's something else to it. I remember one of the things that got me going, even on the couple of shows that I do, this and my YouTube music show, was I saw this show on IFC years ago that Jon Favreau was doing called Dinner for Five, and it would be him and 4 guests, and it would be like Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson and let's say Toby Maguire or whatever, and they're eating and drinking wine and laughing at a restaurant in LA that's obviously closed down, and there's just lights on the table, and they're talking about cards and growing up and movies and films, and I'm like, yeah, well, that's it. That's everyday life. That's what we want to talk about, and that's what kind of got me when. And by the way, Renee and John both came to me, and touring and playing music for years. I've said things in between songs on stage. Someone's tuning a guitar string breaks, and friends are like, "You should have a show. You're funny. You should do comedy." I'm like, man, I can't do any of that. That sounds so scary and horrible. But they gave me this little push, and I'm having the time of my life, and I'm having the time of my life talking to you right now.
Well, I'm glad that you are. I don't know what I'm doing, Tom. It's all, I'll be honest, sometimes I don't even what I'm going to cook until the day before.
Right. Trial and error, baby. I love it. Well, again, maybe that's part of the magic of it. I mean, I've put out now a good amount of records, but the first few, I certainly didn't know what I was doing. And it's very evident when I listen to them. I'm like, oh my goodness, listen to those gang vocals. Listen to in the background. It sounds like someone pressed play at a Casio or something, but that's part of the process. And if I didn't do that, and if you weren't doing this, then you won't be doing what you're doing next later. And that's what makes me think, what can I do? What can we do? What do you want to do? Because every Sunday, by the way, everybody, thank you guys for tuning in to Burn It Down tonight. Every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Ruby cursing her brains out, making pancakes and peas and curry and rice, and every week. So if she's coming on at 1 o'clock, my time, New York time, Atlanta time, well, that would be 11 a.m. LA time. And I have a feeling an hour before she's drinking a vodka and orange juice. She's mixing screwdrivers and dancing to Marvin Gaye in the kitchen. And she's like, wait, what's in the fridge? Am I making a concoction? And you're deciding what you're going to make.
No. I always know at least the night before,
Good.
But I love the fact that it's like unscripted,
Yes.
I told when I had my family friendly episode with my young friend Marcus.
Yes, yeah.
I told him, I'm like, we're just gonna fly by the seat of our pants. I said, we don't really know what's going on. I said, this is what we're making and this is what we're doing, and it's just gonna be like go, go, go. And he's like, okay.
Right.
It's like, yeah, it was just like that. You don't even, when it's over, all of a sudden it's done, and I'm like, oh, what did I even say?
Right.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I was thinking about this yesterday because I'm commenting, and then we riff off each other. Julio says something like, "Creamy and dreamy. That doesn't sound like cooking. That sounds disgusting." And it's like, yo, someone's dreaming and creaming in their pants, whatever. And I'm slapping, and it had me thinking about growing up and going to shows in small clubs, rock and roll, reggae shows, ska shows, punk rock shows, and the audience is just as important as the band. They're in it. They're dancing with them. Sometimes there's a pit. The singer might jump into the crowd with a long microphone cord, and he's singing, and then he passes the mic to an audience member. He's singing along, and I was like, Ruby's show feels like a punk show with the interaction of the audience.
I know some punk rockers that would just laugh at that at me.
Hey, listen, the greatest rock and rollers and rebels and punks to me are people who are nerds and who have their own opinion, and they don't follow. Mark Twain said, when you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. And I'm a big fan of the underdog and the nerd. And I love it all. I just think what you're doing with your show, keep doing it. And I don't know. We just need to. We are here to tell you at TCB and Burn It Down. We are here to help you make this thing grow, because I really see this thing have huge potential.
Well, that sounds surreal to me, but why wouldn't I want to do whatever I can with it? Why? Like, as far as I'm concerned, we're all dying.
Oh my goodness, yes. As dark as that sounds, I agree completely with you. But the thing is I also feel this. Tell me what your thought is on this. And this is someone who's coming from someone who I've had so many insecurities and stuff. I almost think it's easy for us to say, let's not try to do that, because in the reality, in the back of our mind, sometimes we're actually more scared of the success than the failure.
I don't know. I've never even thought about this sort of stuff. This is like everything that's happening with Bitchin and Ruby's Kitchen, and anything that could happen from it. To me, I expect nothing. Like, whatever all seems surreal, I'm always just going to go with the flow, because the flow knows where. And I don't know what is more terrifying. Like, I think not trying would be scarier than success. Right.
Well, no, and that's a good point as well. And I go back and forth with those thoughts all the time. And by the way, I'm mainly speaking for myself. There's been situations that have been presented to me over the years that I took one route, and now I'm older and I think a little bit wiser. I'm like, man, what was going on in the back of this head and this heart? And I'm like, why didn't I do that? Was I nervous about what would happen? What's the worst that could happen? And now I'm like, well, I at least should have tried it. And that's why I tried this show, because I'm like, I mean, how uncool of me, how uncool would it be if 2 years from now I didn't do this? And I'm like, oh man, some friends have a really cool station, a channel, Cosmos Creative, and they offered me a show. And I just was like, now I'm nervous. I'm so glad I did it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I feel like, why say no? I mean, I'm not young, Tom. I'm almost your age, darling. I know you keep calling
Ruby
yourself.
is so secretive. You're not telling us your name. You're not telling us your age. What's
75. You've heard. Okay, I have a pretty eclectic list of music that I play. I'm a big fan of the rock and scroll. So my tabs, and actually almost had like a metaphysical experience during our the Embracing Hope campaign, because every single song that I landed on had some sort of like,
without a doubt,
had some kind of relevance to the day and to what we were bringing attention to and awareness.
Right.
But yeah, I just I'm 1975. I was born in 1975.
All right, I know your age. You well, by the way, you look. You must have made a deal with the devil, because you're walking backwards. You look like you're 33. That is wonderful. Yeah, I was born in 70, which, by the way, 75 is a great year. To me, 2 years later might have been the most important time in rock and roll, because I love like the stuff that came out of England, Elvis Costello and the Clash and stuff, and that was all between 77 and 79. The reality is I could have have my assistant start making me screwdrivers, but I also got to get up in a couple hours, and the show is only 30 minutes. But
Yes.
I told you it's the best time. It's so easy. You
It was.
killed it. You said you were so nervous. I'm going to say right now on Burn It Down, this is my favorite episode ever.
Oh, stop it.
Ruby Rae. Stop it. Stop. Thank you so much, everyone. Check out Ruby's. She comes out with a pot and a pan. There's a fire behind her. Wu-Tang Clan's playing Depeche Mode, and she just starts cursing at you.
Yes, and don't forget to check me out in the Drunkles too. The boys will get so upset.
Yes, and again, Julio and Greg and Renee driving in the back of that fire engine, and everyone else, man. We're all on this together, man, and we're here for each other in any kind of weather, man. We'll weather that storm, embracing hope. One love, much love. Next week, we have Chad Shivers, who is a legendary famous guitar player who is sponsoring and the man behind the Southern Stomp Fest, which is a surf guitar band festival that's going to be happening. I'm super excited to talk to him, and I have a funny story because he and I and Jeffrey Butcher played a show in New York in 2012, and there was this lady like in a hoodie watching us, and I'm like, man, who is this? You know, it was real dark. And then after the show, I went to the bartender and I ordered a drink. I think it was a gin and tonic, and I was like, who is that lady with the hoodie on, like watching us? And she was like, oh, that was Bjork. And I was like, what? So I can't wait to talk to Chad next week. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I love Burn It Down. Renée Yaworsky, Ruby Rae. Keep that name. It's the best. I can't wait to go to a party and listen to and just scream Dolomite stories and songs. Blast Cool in the Gang celebration. Because, listen, life is going to go on either way. So we might as well enjoy it.
Agree.
Thank you. I'll see you 1 o'clock next Sunday. Well, I'll see you Friday on the Drunkles.
You will. 10 p.m.
Thank you.